This video is going to be an overview of exporting maps from MapWashtenaw. There are 4 different ways of doing this. You have the Parcel Report, as well as the 3 tools up here in the toolbar: the Print tool, Export Map tool, and the Simple Sitemap tool. We'll start with the Parcel Report tool. Use the Identify tool up in here in the toolbar, or left-click on a parcel to find your parcel or parcels of interest. Either click on the 3-dot menu here to run a report on this parcel, or if you have multiple results, like when you use the Identify tool, you can group by which layer they're from, say get rid of all the other features so you're only left with parcel results, and say I want to do a parcel report on all 6 of these parcels. For now, I'll just do it on 1, so if I click in here and go to 1, you can also see that in the feature actions at the top of the feature details pane, there is an icon for the parcel report, so you can do it from here as well. So if I click on that, it's going to start generating for us. When it's done, there's going to be a link up here in the banner that will open it in a new tab in your browser. So the parcel report has a little mini map for you, as well as all the information about that parcel, and if there was any available, it would have sales and drain assessment information here. Now, how this looks may differ depending on what your default PDF viewer is, but for mine in the upper right corner here, I can download this to a file on my computer, or I could print straight to a printer if I wanted to. So if we wanted to see what one looks like that has sales information as well as drain assessment information, let's create this parcel report. Click here to download it. And now we can see that related information here. The next method we'll cover is the Export Map tool. So I can just X out of this banner if I want to. Now the Export Map tool is just going to give us a screenshot basically of what we're looking at. So let's turn on the aerial here. Let's clear our results. And then if we click on this tool, we have a couple of options. You can choose your image format. This is going to be the file format that it's going to save as. I'll just leave it as a JPEG for now. You can choose if you want it to be geo-referenced, if you're bringing it into another program, and you can pick the file name. So I'll just call it test for now. And then your browser will go ahead and download it, and you can open that image. As you can see, it's the extent we can currently see in MapWashtenaw, just as an image file. The rest of the tools are going to be using the Print tool. And so how that differs from Export Map is that it makes more of a map composition. So if we look at an example of the output here, you can see we have the map as a large part, and then down at the bottom we have some of the traditional map components like a scale bar, an overview map which has a little red dot where our map is showing, as well as a north arrow, and there's room for a custom title and notes that you can enter in. This map is currently a portrait layout, but if we had printed a landscape layout, there would be room for a legend. We can do that now. So if I go back to MapWashtenaw, to generate one of these, you can click on the Print tool here in the toolbar. Immediately we'll see a print preview square here. This will show us what is going to be in the final PDF. So for example, I can just click, hold, and drag to center, say, this parcel in the middle of my print. We'll just start with a simple print for now. The default layout is a portrait 8.5 by 11, but let's switch to that landscape so we can see what that looks like. It's going to have to pull in that layout and regenerate our print preview so that it matches a new layout. And those custom fields that we saw are under this menu here. So we can type in a custom title. This is a title, and any of our notes. Here are some notes. When you're happy with that, you can go ahead and click print, and it's going to generate that PDF for us. Go ahead and click this link to download it, and as we can see with the landscape layout, we have room for a legend here on the side. And we still have all those map composition elements within this layout. Another printing option you can use is a Simple Sitemap tool. How this differs from print is that it guides you a little bit to make a simple area of interest map. So if I click on this, it's automatically going to turn on the latest aerial that covers the entire county. It'll also guide you to draw an outline around your property of interest. So if I zoom in so I can see some parcels, say I'm interested in these 3 right here, it first brings up a drawing tool. So I'll just leave it on polygon for now. Say I want to draw a new AOI, and I can just draw it so that it intersects those 3 parcels. I need at least 3 corners to make a polygon, and when you're done, you double click. It says the AOI has been drawn, so it recognizes that shape I made, and then you click submit. So any of the parcels that intersected that shape I drew now have an outline around them. And then it brings up the print tool for us. So we can just follow what we did before. We can center our AOI in that print preview, click whatever layout we want, if we want title or notes, and then we can click print. This outline is a markup object, so if you want to, you can use the edit markup tool here to select it. I find it's easiest to click on something by clicking, holding, and dragging to make a little box over it so that it intersects it. And now that we see this green box around it, we know that it's selected, and you can go down to style here, and I could change the line color, for instance, if I want to. Maybe make it thicker. Oops, that didn't keep. If I want it red, and click OK. When you're done, click complete, and then I could go ahead and print my map. Click to download it, and we can see it has my new color on here. The next thing I want to cover in this video is the more advanced topic of scale. In the bottom left corner of the map is our scale widget. If you click on it, you can see what scale you're currently at. This means that for every inch on my screen, it's equal to 2,618 inches in the real world. You can change your scale by clicking on this dropdown and either choosing a preset option or choose this option at the top, and you can enter your own scale even if it's not one of those choices. Click OK, and it nudged me in just a little bit. If I choose a small number, like 240 here, you can see I'm zoomed way in because 1 inch on my screen is only equal to 240 inches in the real world. If I choose a larger number, you can see I'm zoomed way out because it's equal to many more inches in the real world. This concept ties into the more advanced options on the printing tool. So if I go back here, let's close out this banner, click the X to get out of this tool, go back to the Tools tab and click on Print. You can see we have a print scale box here. It's automatically going to update as you zoom in and out on your map, but you also have the option of manually typing something in. Just hit enter and it will adjust your map. If you have to print at a particular scale for your work, there's a guide at the bottom here. So for example, if you have to print at 1 inch equals 20 feet, you're going to look for the value of 240 here. You can type that into your print scale box, tap enter, and it's going to zoom you in. We get that 240 by just converting that 20 feet to inches so that it's the same units on either side for the scale ratio. To help these users out with their maps, we also have a couple of custom layout options. These two that say the 10-foot scale bar for close-ups have a scale with its segment set to 10 feet. So if I make one of these, let's do the portrait, and then hit print. Normally, the scale bar is dynamically drawn based on what scale level you're currently at, but this forces the scale bar that's in the PDF to be drawn at each segment is 10 feet. So it makes it easier to understand and easier to use a ruler with if you print this out. Note, if you're very concerned about the scale, you're going to want to make sure that you're printing this PDF at actual size and not fitting to the page or something else that may distort it. Now, if we go back here to the print tool, I just want to point out that the print scale here is what your PDF is going to be at. Like we saw in the final print here, it's 1 to 240, which is equal to 1 inch is 20 feet. But this is not going to be equal to what your scale is in the application, like your larger extent here. So don't be concerned if these two values don't line up. This print scale is only for the PDF that's going to be generated. This difference in scales may be an issue if you're printing right at the scale level where different layers are turning on and off in the map. So your PDF may look a little bit different than what you can currently see in the application. The last thing I wanted to show you are the new options under the print tool for print type. Usually we're just making a single print, that's one image on one PDF. But now we also have the option to do grid or line types. These are newer types, so they aren't quite fully developed yet, but feel free to give them a try. Let's start with the grid one. The grid is automatically going to make a grid of prints. This export will have 4 prints to it, plus 1 for a cover page. You can adjust how many prints here in the rows or the columns. This is going to take longer to generate because there are more pages, so I'm just going to keep it at 4 for now. Just like before, you can pan the map underneath it to center it on your area of interest, and you can also adjust the scale. When you're happy with it, go ahead and click Print, and it will generate this series for us. Now that it's finished generating, just click on the link here to download it, and we can see our PDF. The first one shows where each of the 4 following maps are centered. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we scroll down, our next page is that first one, second, third, and fourth. The other type was along a line. So if I go back to the print tool, change my print type to line, you can create a line for it to create prints along. Double click when you're done. You can see it has automatically made print previews along that line. Note that it rotates to stay perpendicular with the line you drew. If you're not happy with that, click Remove, and then adjust your zoom level to change how many prints there are. Right now, you can't manually set that. The further out you are, the fewer pages there will be. So if I draw a new line out here, I have fewer pages. When I'm happy with that, I can go ahead and click Print, but let me turn on the base map just so we can see more detail on our maps. And let's turn off the water layer. There we go. Now go back to Print and click Print. Now that it's finished generating, go ahead and click the link to open it. And we can see that this time the cover page shows the print previews along that line we drew. They're also numbered by the print number. Scroll down and we can see each of the individual ones.